Hey everyone, it's Joric. Welcome back. If you have traveled to Lisbon, Portugal, or if you're thinking about moving there and you've done a scouting trip, you're trying to figure out how to immigrate, maybe retire there, maybe work there, invariably you've run into tuk-tuks. They're everywhere in Lisbon. And what's interesting is some of the locals are very upset about they just congest the street, make it difficult to get around. Sometimes they're not always obeying the laws, like the traffic laws, and often it seems like they do their own thing. And then there's another group that are locals that use tuk-tuks for tours and for some of their businesses. So it's been interesting when we lived there what the take was on the local population on tuk-tuks. I can tell you in the summertime, June, July, August in Lisbon, it seems like there's more tuk-tuks than there are people. Now that is obviously an exaggeration on my part, but it does feel like it because when you are driving around, riding around, taking a tram, or just walking around, especially when you're in the city center, the main tourist area that you're going to visit if you're going to vacation or holiday there, or if you're scouting at property, you may be looking at the main city center, or you could just be being a tourist for the day. And you will be surprised at how many tuk-tuks are everywhere. And how easy it is. It's often easier to get a tuk-tuk than it is sometimes to get a taxi or an Uber if you're looking to use it not for a tour. So what's interesting and is probably good because they're just every year as Lisbon becomes more popular as a tourist spot, there's more tuk-tuks and there's more tours, and then it creates more congestion and then more frustration for bus drivers and taxi drivers and just people trying to enjoy the city, whether they be locals or tourists. So what Lisbon has done is they're now restricting where tuk-tuks can go. So essentially, they've gone from being everywhere to being very limited. And as you can see from this article, it says in the article, there's hundreds of streets. And I started mapping it out last night as far as where all they can and can't go. And it's pretty restrictive. What I'm curious about is how heavily this is going to be enforced. There were two times when we lived there that they were going to change speed limits in the city center on certain streets because of accidents or things like that, or pedestrians being worried about, getting hit, and rightfully so. But those actions never took place. They were actually going to close off some major streets on Sundays, which didn't happen. So often the government says they're going to do something, but the follow through doesn't always take place. So we'll see what happens here, because as I'm making this video about Lisbon, the government up in Porto has also said that they're going to start restricting tuk-tuk access to certain places in Porto. So if you're going up there for a day trip, or you're going there to tour, or maybe you're looking to move there, there's also going to be less tuk-tuks. What do you think about that? Have you used tuk-tuk for a tour, or do you think they're a nuisance and they should be banned altogether? What are your thoughts on that? We've used tuk-tuks, but sparingly. Somebody came into town, maybe we used them because we didn't have a car, and it was an easy way to show like the top 5 or 6 attractions and get around. But can also understand there are times where you would see a traffic light and the light is red, and there'd be nothing but tuk-tuks. There wouldn't be any cars or bicycles or motorcycles. It would be like 30 or 40 tuk-tuks backed up to get through the light. So in many ways, some of the people that we've talked to that are locals will probably rejoice at this news and be very happy to see less of them around the city. What I am curious about is, as Portugal is becoming a more popular destination, and Lisbon specifically for tourists, I wonder if more tuk-tuks will find their way in, and how long this restriction will last, or if it's truly enforced, because that's often. I made a video once that got some views a few years ago about all the dog poop that's in Lisbon that doesn't get picked up, and it's like an €800 fine or something like that. It's a pretty steep fine. It's almost a month's pay for many workers in Portugal. But I don't think the police have ever written a ticket for it because there's dog poop everywhere. So having something out there and enforcing it are two vastly different things. So probably restricting tuk-tuks in the city and not having more of them is a good thing, and restricting where they go is a good thing. But whether the government and the police really enforce it or not, be curious to see what happens. If a bunch of people get citations and get fines, great. Maybe that will help. But I'm always curious about Portugal. The enforcement piece, when it comes to most anything there, is sometimes highly suspect. So if you're going to tour and going to take a visit in Lisbon, you may or may not be able to use a tuk-tuk for that tour. And that may be a good thing. A little less traffic in Lisbon, especially in the summertime, isn't going to be a bad thing. But please let me know your thoughts. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your travels.